Hi everybody, it's Martin at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying the Alphlexo crab. Had a lot of requests for this, and I'm tying them for someone, so I'm eventually getting round to it. As always, the material list will be in the description, along with a link to my social media, and also the Patreon page for anybody who would like to support the channel. That would be excellent. I'd really appreciate that. So, the vise there was a white one, but I'm tying tan this time, and this is a size 2. It's a Gamakatsu SL12. So get your hook firmly in your vise and run on some thread, and this is 70 denier Danvers Flymaster. You might want to use thicker thread if you're less comfortable with this light stuff, but I like it because it helps you sort of minimise the amount of bulk at the tie-in points. So for weight on this, I'm using a set of tungsten dumbbells and a set of bead chain eyes. So these are 3mm tungsten. Let's get them started. And you want them in the midway point of the shank. And then some fluorescent orange dumbbell eyes. I've seen people tie these with just 2 pairs of orange lead eyes. You could do that if you like. It's basically up to you, it's your fly, your choice. Obviously you will adjust the weight depending on where you're fishing. So get both of these figurated together. Get everything tied off nicely, and then just make sure everything's covered. I like a nice base of thread. Along the body. Then I'll get my super glue. Super glue everything. Right. Just got all those thread wraps covered all around those eyes. Normally I would just do this stage, run off a bunch of them, and then I'd come back and tie the rest of the fly, but for the purposes of the video, just doing it all together. So as that's setting, I've got my Flexo tubing. Right, I'll put a link to the company that makes that in the description. Be warned though, the international shipping is very expensive. If you live in the States, you're fine, but if you don't, it's probably worth clubbing together with a few mates. So I've got, this is the 1/8 diameter, 1/8 inch diameter tube, and I've got a couple inches of it for a size 2. If you were tying these crabs bigger, like a size 1/0, you would obviously go up to the 1/4 inch tube. So I've melted the end of the tube to create a small step. Now I'm just using my scissors to open it back up so that it slides over these beads nicely. And I've still got my thread part here directly above the barb, just where the bitten starts to go round. I'll pinch that, take a couple of wraps, and you can just shunt that forward a wee bit. Oops. Right. See, this is why some folk don't like the 8/0 thread. you can cut it with a tubing if you're not careful. However, I still think it's worth it for the small compact tie off that you get. So tie that in nice and secure. The burnt lumps will stop your thread slipping off it, but you do want to jump your thread back behind and build up a little dam which stops it slipping back when you're forming the body later. Right, it's quite important. Get that whip finished twice as always. These are bouncing about coral and what have you. And then we'll just come in, wee touch of super glue, but keep it well back from the tubing. Right, just on the wee thread dam behind. You don't want it gripping the tubing and holding it together, that will ruin the fly. So you can see now I've got this basically, and now we're ready to make the shape. So you push it back and you'll see, I don't know how well you can see it in the video, as you push back you'll see that it'll start to form a wee ridge, right? That's when you know you're at the sort of maximum expansion, because it's starting to get ready to fold back in itself. I like to push it until I've got a flat spot and then it starts to taper again, and that's when I know I've kind of got the absolute limit. I'll pinch it tight, pinch it flat, I'll take my thread, I put my bobbin in between my finger and thumb and pinch tight, and then take a couple of loose wraps and just gradually start to tighten down, and then you can just use your finger and thumb and then rock it back. Now right, I've overcooked it there, it's a wee bit too much, so just back it off. Just come in and start your thread. Get that tied off nice and tight. Check it out, see how it's looking. Remember, you're going to have to squeeze it and sort of manipulate it until you get sort of nice crabby shape. And when you're happy, which I am, you can just whip finish. Take that away. And to trim, I like to use a cautery tool. It's by far the best way to cut this. Fly tires, hot tip, or a cautery tool, depending on where you're buying them. Really hot edge allows you to trim that very precisely. Just be melting it away. And you can very carefully, if you like. If you've got any wee raggy ends of thread or anything, sometimes you will have, because the roughness of the tube can fray your thread slightly. You can just melt that as well. Your thread's also nylon, it'll melt together. And that's basically, we've got a little crab shape and we're ready to form the legs and everything. So I've got, this is actually for tying bass bugs. It's a Dave Whitlock style leg puller. It's just a piece of fairly light nylon super glued into the eye of a needle and a loop, but you can use anything you like really. And I'm just going to thread that through where I want my first set of legs to be, and I'll take this piece of, I've got but a micro size ultra chenille, and it's about 6 centimeters long. I find that to be like an ideal working length. 2 inches, just over 2 inches, 2.5 nearly. Thread that in. Repeat the process for the middle set of legs. And this is on like the underside of the crab. Same again, just put the tag end of the chenille through the loop, pull it through, and the last set, just the same. At this stage, I'll adjust my legs, and this is your sort of last chance to adjust the shape of the crab, because to make sure these legs are secure, I'm using some thin or flow formula UV resin. Right, really, you want it really thin. I'm just going to let that soak into the chenille. And hit it with a torch. And that's still gripping the braid, but it's also, because it's the thin stuff, it soaks into the chenille very tightly, and it you know, it's nice and strong. Claws. Now you can tie the claws in as a single piece. You tie one loop, thread it through, and tie it and pull it back. But I find that very, very fiddly, and I don't see any advantage to it really. I much prefer to tie two in separately, and I just do much the same, but this time on the sort of front and top. I've got this, trim that back a bit, got this claw I've made. All it is you tie an overhand loop into a single piece of chenille. I've got a video on that you can find, and then you trim the loop, and that gives you a nice wee claw. So 2 of them. Make sure they're the same size. And then it's just the same procedure again. Pull it in. Might need to sort of tweak it a wee bit just to adjust the length of the claw, but then you end up with a sort of crabby form. And then diametrically opposite. Same jazz. Adjust them to suit yourself. And then the same thing, just touch the chenille with the UV resin. Hit it with a lamp. You can, if you like, come in a pen and mottle this a wee bit, just to sort of darken it a wee bit to make it a bit tanner. But I mean, the whole purpose of these is that the bottom shows through. So eyes, these are just eyes that I make myself. It's a black bead epoxied onto a wee black glass bead epoxied onto a piece of 20 pound nylon. So normally they're on quite a long stalk, same as most eyes, but obviously with these wee crabs we don't need a great big long stalk. So I cut it short, just bite the end to make it flat, and then can be a bit fiddly, but thread it in. There you go, that's one. I'll also secure this with the UV resin. And the other one, I flatten the end just so it can't slip back out through the resin. Nothing worse than a one-eyed crab. Once it's in, I don't like that. And the beauty of this is you can reposition to suit yourself. If it's resisting you, you just take something a bit harder than the nylon, poke it in there to open the hole. That's better. A bit of UV resin in there. Make sure they're well secured. And then hit it with a light. Then the last thing to do is just even up your legs. Sort of I like my legs to be roughly about a body length. I mean, they still move and all that. The chenille, especially in the water, when it's wet in the water, it really does move quite well. I just melt the ends. One at a time. And then same with the claws. So open the claws up. One's a bit long, we'll just trim it back. And there you go. And that's it. The Alphlexo crab. Just knocked one of the eyes loose there. Must not have fully secured it. That's better. Just make sure the resin's fully cured. And there you have the finished Alphlexo crab. Very effective. Wee bit time consuming, but it's actually quite an easy tie. Well, it's not, I mean, there's not actually that much tying. So, hope that was useful. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, the materials list is in the description along with my social media and a link to Patreon if you would like to support the channel. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Tight lines. Bye.